How connected are you to your cervix? Have you ever truly paused to consider this sacred, powerful part of your body? Today on I Love Me, the podcast, we're journeying into the heart of a woman, literally and energetically, by exploring the cervix. Because this isn't just a part of your anatomy. Your cervix is a portal, a powerful center that not only influences your health and fertility, but also your capacity to give and receive love and experience deep, soul-stirring pleasure. In this episode, I'll be sharing what you might be doing that is causing the cervix to age prematurely, how the cervix is intimately connected to your heart space, and the simple ways you can begin to awaken her so you can unlock full body bliss. And just a gentle heads up, I will be mentioning the big O word. So if you've got little ones around, this might be an episode to save for a quiet moment alone. Ready to dive deep? Literally? Let's begin.
Love, 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 I love me.
Simple, inspiring lessons in self-love. Hi, it's Tamara here. Back in episode 46, we explored a woman's breasts and how they can be a powerful portal for self-connection, healing, and cultivating self-love. Today, on the International Day of Action for Women's Health, we're moving down south to the cervix. Because your connection to your cervix isn't just physical. It's emotional, energetic, and deeply spiritual. It's where our boundaries live, where our pleasure begins, and where our deepest truths reside. When we reconnect with this sacred space, we awaken our ability to feel more, love more, and live more fully in our feminine power. So let's explore how to bring that connection back to life and why your cervix might just be the missing piece on your self-love journey. Firstly, I invite you to take a moment to place one hand on your womb space and one hand on your heart and simply breathe. Full breath in, full breath out. And simply ask yourself, how is my relationship with my cervix? I'll give you a moment now to see what comes to you. So how is my relationship with my cervix? If you're unfamiliar with the cervix, you can find her right at the top of a woman's vaginal canal. One of the key roles of the cervix is to secrete specific mucus at certain times of month, including a fertile mucus to help chauffeur the sperm up to the egg during the ovulatory phase of a woman's cycle so that she can conceive. The vagina is a very acidic place, and without this protective mucus, the sperm dies a quick death. Hence to say, in order for a woman to remain fertile, she needs a healthy cervix. Interestingly enough, studies have shown that every time a woman has a baby, her cervix regenerates by 2 years. So having babies actually nourishes and supports our cervix. On the flip side, every year a woman is on a contraceptive pill or other contraceptive device, her cervix degenerates by 2 years. So if you spent much of your 20s on some kind of contraception, waiting till your 30s to get pregnant, your cervix may resemble that of a 40 or 50-year-old. This starts to explain some of those statistics around infertility, where 1 in 3 women over 35 are unable to conceive. We use man-made medicines to try not to get pregnant in our younger years, but what most women don't realize is that pills, IUDs and the like, they mess with our hormones, leading to all sorts of emotional and physical issues. And they hurt parts of our body, like our cervix, which needs to be in tip-top condition in order to maintain fertility. Now, you may be wondering, so what do I do if I don't want to hurt my cervix and I don't want to get pregnant right now? Opt for a natural method of contraception. When I met my husband, we started with condoms because I wasn't on the pill, as I'd experienced a lot of side effects when I was on it in my early 20s. But obviously we wanted something that was a little more foolproof and something that didn't mean we always had to have a barrier between us. So together, we went and learnt the Billings ovulation method, which teaches you how to track your cervical mucus so you know when to avoid penetration if you're in your fertile phase of your cycle. Because there's less than a week each month where a woman can actually get pregnant, and we can learn how to identify that time with the help of a qualified instructor. My husband and I spent 5 years using this method to avoid getting pregnant, and then when we decided we wanted to get pregnant, then we knew the exact time to have sex so we could. Hence, I became pregnant very quickly. Now, if you've been using contraception for a while, there's no need to stress and worry that you've done irreparable damage to your cervix. This information isn't here to shame or alarm you. It's here to empower you. Because the more you know, the more consciously you can choose what you put into your body moving forward. And the beautiful truth is, just like any part of the body, the cervix has an incredible capacity to heal. One of the most nurturing ways to support this healing is through gentle, intentional massage. Yes, cervical massage. There are reflexology points within the vagina that correspond to different organs in the body, similar to those found on the feet or ears in traditional reflexology. But what many people don't know is that ancient Taoist wisdom teaches us that the most potent reflexology points actually exist in our genitals. Today we'll be focusing specifically on the reflexology point for the cervix, but if you're curious about the full map of vaginal and penile reflexology, I explore this in much more depth in my Sexual Self course. I'll pop a link in the show notes. So the cervix is deeply connected to the heart, literally and energetically. In fact, in reflexology, the cervix is considered the heart's point. It makes perfect sense. It's the innermost part of a woman where deep feeling, creation, and connection reside. Interestingly for men, the heart's reflexology point is at the tip of the penis. So when a man enters a woman with presence and love, their heart points marry up. It's quite poetic, really, an energetic meeting of hearts, not just bodies. Why does this even matter? Because gentle, intentional massage of the cervix doesn't just support the physical heart, it also helps soften and open the emotional heart. Many women carry layers of emotional armor, protective walls built from past pain, trauma, heartbreak, or betrayal. We become guarded, fearful of vulnerability. But vulnerability, as I share in episode 15, is the doorway to love, joy, and deep embodied pleasure. When we shut down emotionally, that tension often finds its way to the cervix. That's why for some women, even the lightest touch in this area can feel painful, Or on the flip side, even the strongest of touch can be unfelt as that area has become numb. Numbness is how we armor ourselves to protect ourselves. We create tension patterns that either lead to numbness or pain. Wherever there is tension, there is stagnant energy. And according to traditional Chinese medicine, stagnant energy is what leads to illness and disease. So, by lovingly tending to the cervix, we're not just caring for a part of the body, we're awakening the heart, restoring energy flow, and inviting healing on every level. I actually experienced cervical challenges myself. Years ago, I received an abnormal pap smear result and was diagnosed with cervical dysplasia, being the stage just before cancer. My gynecologist at the time immediately recommended surgery, but for me, this didn't quite feel right, especially as this surgery may have left me unable to conceive. So instead of going under the knife, I chose to listen to my body. I began working with my cervix both physically through massage and the exact practices I now teach in yoga for the vagina, and energetically by addressing the emotional imprints I was holding around womanhood, intimacy, and self-worth. I invested a lot of time clearing the beliefs, the ideas, and the thinking patterns that had led to this cervical issue showing up in my body in the first place, the way that I teach it in both my one-on-one intensive and the Remarkable Relationships course. Within just 4 months of doing all this inner healing work, my cervix had returned to full health. My gynecologist called it a miracle, but I knew it was the power of self-healing in action, something I've since guided many women through with profound results. Because here's the truth. Unprocessed emotion, old heartbreaks, and generational wounds often settle in the deepest parts of our body, like the cervix, creating physical imbalances. But when we learn how to meet those emotions with presence and release what no longer belongs, our tissues soften, and in that softening, healing begins. That's when the body returns to its natural state, balance, vitality, and wholeness. So how do we actually use this understanding to heal the cervix? It starts by activating the heart reflexology point inside the cervix through gentle, intentional touch. And when I say gentle, I mean as soft as you would touch the face of a newborn baby. You see, the cervix is incredibly sensitive, as sensitive as your eyeball, which is why invasive procedures like surgery can sometimes cause long-term issues. But here's a beautiful embodied alternative: healing through soft, conscious massage. Now, it can be tricky to reach the cervix with the fingers alone, which is why I guide women in using a jade egg, a sacred ancient tool that supports healing on multiple levels. The jade egg gently massages out tension physically, while energetically drawing out stored trauma and emotional residue from the tissue. You can also use specifically designed wands to access this area with care and presence, but avoid using vibrators. While they may offer short-term sensation, vibrators actually desensitize the cervix and create more internal tension over time. What we're guiding our body back to is softness, receptivity, and sensitivity, the natural state of a healthy, vibrant cervix. With consistent, gentle massage, you'll begin to feel the tension melt away and the cervix soften and awaken. Why is this important? Because a soft and receptive cervix isn't just a marker of good pelvic health, giving the best chances of being able to conceive, carry a baby to full term, and then birth the baby naturally. It's also the key to accessing a deeper level of pleasure, connection, and creative energy. I'm talking about the cervical orgasm. Unlike clitoral orgasms, which are short-lived and typically localized, cervical orgasms can last for hours with waves of pleasure that ripple through your entire body. Many women describe them as spiritual or soul-expanding experiences that leave them feeling one with all that is. I like to call them heartgasms because they don't just open up the pelvis, they open the heart in a super expansive way. And this profound pleasure is possible because the cervix is connected to the brain via 3 major nerves, lighting up areas that unlock creativity, love, and awareness. There's even a meridian line that runs from the cervix to the crown chakra, meaning that when we open this tender space, we access our higher wisdom and feminine power. In this way, cervical pleasure is not just about sex. It's a pathway to wholeness, to creativity, to deep embodied self-love. So what if you've had an operation where your cervix has been removed? Energetically, your cervix is still there. So you can still tap into its power by simply setting an intention to do so, and by using a tool like a jade egg to help energize and connect with the area that your cervix would have been. Chances are, if your cervix has been removed, there's most likely some scar tissue there as well. And using tools like the jade egg and especially pelvic steaming, which actually helps melt away scar tissue, that can be really powerful in supporting this area to come back into a vibrant state of health. I'll pop a link in the show notes to pelvic steaming because I've helped many women dissolve scar tissue with this practice, including myself. Okay, so now you know how to look after your cervix. Take some time to play with what I've shared with you. And know that your cervical health really is a vital part of your overall health and your ability to give and receive love. Thanks for listening. And if you felt this episode really touched your heart and awakened you to the power within, I would be so grateful if you could leave a short review or rating. And if you are looking to dive deeper into pelvic healing and sexual pleasure, my 2 programs that will guide you there are Yoga for the Vagina and Sexual Self. Simply go to my website, gettingnaked.com.au to read more, and know that if you do enroll in one of these programs, a percentage of profits go to planting trees, so together we can re-robe Mother Earth.
I love me.